What's happening, YouTube? This is my first video on hopefully to be many to come. And basically I want to talk about what we consider black on black violence. And one of our growing problems in this world is our kids killing kids. And it's kind of disgraceful to see that what we consider the city of brotherly love, that's the dumbest thing we can call this place right now. Because of the fact that our brothers don't care about our brothers. And black on black crime has been a great issue for a good minute. And one thing we see on the news every day, some kid got shot. Some kid is dead. At least 2 to 3 times a night. And I watch the news a lot to stay upbeat with everything, but then all this crime makes me want to stop watching the news, but then I'll never be updated on what's going on in my neighborhood, in my city. And what really gets me is when you hear your community leaders, the pastors, moms and dads crying out for help. And this might touch some nerves. But y'all crying to the wrong people. I can tell you that right now. You're crying to the wrong damn people. The people you should be crying to is yourselves. And I'm a 70s baby. We had different rules growing up. And a lot of people can vouch for that. When the street lights came on, guess where your behind was? In the house, on the porch. And if you weren't, wherever you were, there was a parent there that had your parent's number to confirm your whereabouts. Or your parent could call that other parent and tell you to bring your narrow behind home. Nowadays, these parents don't know where their kids are. These parents are letting their kids roam the streets at all hours of the night. And it's sickening because when something happens to our youth, their life gets cut short. We're trying to find a killer. We're trying to find a way to curb gun violence. We're trying to find a way to stop the sales of guns getting into the youth's hands and grown men. We're doing all this stuff to stop something in the midst of a cry to the wrong people. Why is it the wrong people? Because nobody is taking accountability on looking at your own home. For the past several years, we've seen this crime shoot up like crazy. And nobody has had the right answer to how can we stop it? Because the answer sits right there in your faces. It starts with home. I was taught, know the streets, but don't let the streets know you. Don't let the streets consume you. Common sense. Everybody has it. My mom let me slip, let me learn, because she taught me right from wrong. And I knew my actions would have consequences. And there was a couple of hard lessons that I had to learn from that. But the one thing we're not doing is protecting our children inside the home first, so that when they go outside in the streets, they're safe. Yeah, a lot of these kids get caught in stray bullets, wrong place, the wrong time. And again, start crying out to the wrong people. But yet, let somebody come and tell you how to raise your children. Let your neighbor, Miss Jenkins across the street, cut her eye at your kids, look at you strange, and now you got an attitude. Now you want to fight. Now you feel offended because somebody's telling you about your child. That's how the hell I grew up. My behind could have got whipped in church, on the block, and you know what happened? By the time my mom would have found out, that would have been another whooping. And that ain't fun. Because now you're sitting there, 2 to 3 behind whippings. I'm trying not to curse y'all. You're sore as hell, you're regretting everything, but you know what? You learn. You get the hard lessons early, so the harder lessons in life that comes, you know how to treat them. But we're not instilling these things in our kids, and we're too angry at the world when somebody's telling you your child shouldn't be doing this, your child shouldn't be doing that. Now everybody's the perfect parent, but nobody's parenting perfectly. I didn't have the best life growing up. But I can say I had some of the best lessons as an adolescent to know today what I did wrong, what my consequences were, and not to do it again. Uh-oh, that don't look good. Oh, shoot. Almost every week you're seeing on the news these gatherings, community leaders crying out to local and federal government, we need gun control. We need to get these guns off the streets. Then you got the drug addicts. It just goes on and on and on. And the drug addicts would be a whole nother series on this. But just to point that out. Nobody's sitting there on the news saying, get your kids, take your kids in the house, teach your kids these values in life so that when they become a teenager, become an adult, they're not on the news. They're not being chased down by the cops. They're not fleeing because they done killed somebody. And we've all heard that by now. Black lives are only the matter to black people when black people realize that we're making ourselves extinct. We're making ourselves become an exhibit. And we're not taking accountability for what our children do. And that's the problem, because growing up, we had the village. The village is not there no more. The village consisted of your parents, your siblings, aunts, uncles, grandparents, your neighbors, your church family. These are the people that surrounded me, and gave me direction. People I can look at and I can admire, like, you know what? That man got his stuff together. That's how I want to be. And not looking at the street saying, man, he getting money. Look at the car. Look at the clothes. Getting caught up in the world instead of focusing on life. And that whole thing is just, it's gone. The village is gone. And until we get back to the village, man, y'all kids is going to keep on dying. Y'all going to keep seeing these news reports. These killers are going to keep escaping unsolved murders because we're not paying attention to our kids from where it's supposed to start, at home. We're too busy worried about everything else but the right thing. We're not focused on the number one value of a home. Don't do it. You did it anyway. We need to sit there and look at ourselves. We need to look at our communities as a whole. We need to start teaching, especially for these new parents and upcoming parents, these things you need to instill in your kids' lives early and keep them there. We got young parents that just want to stay young and not parents. How does that work out? Y'all still want to be out in the streets, in the clubs, smoking, drinking, with your kids. And then when something happens, you're sitting there wondering, blaming everybody else. But the one thing you haven't blamed is yourself. Where's the community at now? Where's the village? Where's the support system that is helping you guide your kids in the right direction? We refuse it. We look at it as an insult. We look at it as disrespectful. We look at it as, mind your business. You can't tell me how to raise mine. This is mine. Worry about yours. And then the whole time, yours is out there doing the dumb stuff. And yeah, some people back in the day were just plain old newsy. But that's life. If we start our children early, the upcoming generation, because a lot of these teens now that are going into adulthood, it's too late. They got to actually learn a lesson or grab some common sense. Or hopefully not get killed out in these streets. That's what we need to do now with our youth. But these children that are about to be born, just born, we need to pull a village together and say, hey, look, this is how the change starts. This is how we protect our kids in the future. Because if your kids is out here running around the streets already, 9 times out of 10, the streets got them. I've seen the best turn to the worst. And I've seen the worst turn into some good. But at the same time, we can't overlook what we're doing as parents. We can't overlook it. We have to sit there and analyze and focus on what could you do better to protect your child. Come on, somebody be nice. Don't make me be ignorant. I love the youth like crazy. And at any given time, if a youth needs me, if I can do it, it's done. If I can't, I'm going to try to let you know when I can do it. But I'll never turn my back on the youth. If I know there's a kid out there that needs help, I'm all over it. That's just my spirit. Because when I needed help, I was able to reach out to the community, my village, my support system, and get help. Growing up, hey, look, is your job hiring? I don't know, but you know what? Why don't you stop in and get an application? Hey, look, I ain't got nothing to do. I'm bored. Come on over. We're all watching movies. Hang out with us. You know, we had that airtight community growing up, and it just dwindled out and it's gone. And now we're worried about, oh, we need recreation centers for the kids. When kids need more things to do. Maybe so. Maybe so. But that's not the answer. Gun policies is not the answer. Curfews is not the answer. A whooping every now and then, it ain't gonna hurt. I can guarantee you that. Because that'll stay in your head for the rest of your life, and you'll sit there like, oh man, you know what, it ain't even worth it. But that's not how we're thinking now. We're blaming everybody, we're pointing fingers everywhere else but inside the house. You got these teenagers getting murder sentences as a teenager if they get caught. And yeah, the same for grown men, but we got to look at, they were once kids. So what happened? Where did it go wrong? We let the streets take over, and then we lost our concern. So basically, this is one of my rants. This is one of the things that goes on in my head, because it really drives me nuts when I've heard it on several interviews. The news is talking to a family, and the family's sitting there begging for somebody to turn themselves in. They're a good person, they're this, they're that. Yeah, something went wrong. Something went wrong. And again, you can throw in the comments, the backlash, I don't care. But in the end, you know it's the truth. Because if the child was that good, they wouldn't be doing what they were doing. And I've seen parents treat their children like their friends. It's not how you do it. It's not how you do it. You have an open line of communication, yeah. But you sit there drinking and smoking with your children and hanging out with their kids and partying it up like they grown. What do you expect is going to happen? Everything has a chain reaction. It's a ripple effect. You know, you want to hang with your kids, treat them like friends, teach them something. This is what I do at work. This is one of my go-tos when I'm looking for a job. This is one of my go-tos when I'm bored, I ain't got nothing to do, and I know I'm not going to go outside and do something more crazy and get myself in trouble, or just wake up in the morning with regret. And I find an alternate. Pick up the phone. Talk it out with somebody that I haven't talked with in a while. Show somebody some love. Instead of, I'm going to go out here and smoke, drink, and then see what happens. We all know when that liquor get up in you, you don't think straight. Plenty of times I didn't. Plenty of lessons I learned hard way. And I was conscious enough to not let my actions get the best of me. I was conscious enough to not let the streets put a vice grip over me and not let go. Because then I always had people that I can look at, people that I can think of, and say, you know what? If such and such saw me, they would not be happy right now. I look like a damn fool. And that's the problem that we're facing. Nobody cares. Our youth don't care. Start with your homes, people. Don't worry about what your community leaders can talk about on a press conference, on some news anchor sitting in your living room trying to find out what went wrong. You have the meeting in your home. You pull your family together. You pull your neighbors together. And you sit there and you come up with ideas. How can you keep your kids entertained? How can you keep your kids safe? When does it start? Where does it start? And how does it start? Now it's too late for a lot of these kids out here. They're already in the streets. They're stuck. And they're crying for help. And how can you beat the streets? And half the time, somebody's got to go to prison for a minute. They got to lose somebody close. Or their life is lost altogether. Get your families together. Pull them together and help you work on it. You can change the world in a matter of time. And that's what it needs. Because I know what it's like to lose a child, bury them, but I don't know what it's like to have a child murdered. I've seen that. And that's some hard stuff to engulf. That's a whole different kind of pain that I don't want. Bad enough to see your child buried. That's something you can't recover from. But to have your child murdered and the murderer is still on the street, that's something else. That's something else. But please, people, let's work on the homes. Let's get to the real problem solving on protecting our kids. Let's point the fingers in the right direction so that the real change can be made. And make the change. Like I said before, this is one of many to come rants. Cheesy Chucky, like, subscribe. I'm going to be brushing off on a whole lot and try to throw in some more content. But I just got a lot of stuff that I built up in my head, and I'm constantly going off and screaming at the news. But like, share, subscribe, comment. I'm open to feedback. Don't comment being an asshole, please don't, because I'm petty. I'll tell you that right now. I'll talk about your mama in a minute, and your ugly sister. But that's a whole nother story. Anyway, love y'all. One.